Yeah, so this session today, it's up to you whether you have your video on. It is being recorded, but the recording will just show the speaker. It'll just show me and my slides on my screen. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at digital books in Bloom. So last week, for those who joined, it was an introduction to Bloom and focus more on creating books for printing, but also showing the basics of formatting and styles and adding images. So digital books are books that are created within Bloom, but instead of printing them, they're made available through digital means. So maybe through a tablet, through a phone, maybe online or uploaded to a website where people can view them. Usually the digital books have audio attached, included with them, but it's not necessary to do the audio. I'll just open Bloom and share my screen. Okay, so Bloom, this is what you'll see if you've already got a collection in Bloom. For those who are starting with a new collection, who haven't used Bloom before, then you would need to go through the steps of creating a new collection. But if you're doing that this morning or today, I suggest you just choose the default options. In Bloom, you have basic books, which we looked at last week, but there's also you can change the size of the basic book and create it for an audio device. So I'm going to just show here creating a basic book. So the layout for creating a basic book will be similar to what you see if you decide that you're going to create a book for devices. But one thing you need to do if you decided that you're creating it for a device, then at the top here you see an option: change the page size and the orientation. Down towards the bottom of that is the device sizes. So we have device 16:9 portrait or device 16:9 landscape. So I'm going to choose the portrait. So you'll notice that the size of the book on the screen has changed slightly to reflect the sizes that it would be on a phone or other device. I'll just zoom in a bit more. So just as you were creating for a printed book, if you're wanting to add images, click on the, you can either paste an image from the clipboard or click on the change image option and get a picture either from the image gallery or it could be from a file on your computer. Just let's see. So then if it's a file from your computer that doesn't have the copyright information, if it's an image on your computer, then you will need to add those, the copyright information. I'll just use the details that I used last time. So now this book, we just need to add some text to the page. So this book is actually, this collection is in Thai and English, but I'm just going to change this to only English. Sorry, English and not Thai. Okay, so I'm going to add another page to this book. And there's, I will cover a little bit later in the session about the Bloom enterprise features and the extra page types that you have available. But for now, we'll just create a book with a page with a picture in the middle on this page. So just as you would create a book for a printed book, then just type a story here. So if you're using 2 languages, then there will be space for you to type this text in the other language. And another image here, just setting some basic settings, basic text and images in this book. And also I'll just add some text to the bottom of this page. So if you're following along, you can either copy what I'm doing or add text of your own. A couple of features that weren't available in Bloom until the last couple of years are the options to add motion on the image. And also to have music in the background. So the way to access those is to click on a 3 and if you've already got something open, if it already shows a talking book tool or something else, go down to more. And what we're going to look at first is the motion tool. So this seems to work better if there's a particular image or particular part this book doesn't have voice or music yet. So by starting with whatever is selected of number 1, and then it will zoom in or zoom out or motion towards whatever is number 2. So, and it seems it's not selecting motion. Okay. Okay, so on this, I might want to start with the whole image, but then move to the this pink flower in the middle. Okay, and then you might like to have some music playing at the same time as this motion. So that's the music tool. That will allow you to find some music, whether it's on your computer or it may be something that you have on a CD. Okay. Just realized I don't have audio. There it is. Okay, so, and once you've added music, then you can decide whether you want the music to continue over all the pages of the book, or if you're wanting no music, or it could be that you're starting new music on this new page. So we're start the new music here. But one thing that you need to be careful of, if you've got music and you've also got voice, so you've got you're recording the text, then you need to also take note of the volume. So we'll just test this with music at the moment. Yeah. So you can start with something small. For example, we'll start with this flower. And then we'll show the whole, well, the square of most of the flowers. So as you can see there, it starts with the small flower, and then it moves on to the larger image. So I'll go to my page that has text. So once you have selected the talking book tool, then the text in each of the boxes will be highlighted so you can record it. So the way to record is to click on the speak button, but to hold it down as you're recording. So this is my story about the flowers. And then it will allow you to check that. This is my story about the flowers. And then if you're happy with it, you can go on to the next text on the page. The end of my story. And then check it, the end of my story. And one thing you may notice, there's a little bit of static in the recording. So it's, if you're wanting to do a good recording, then do it in a room where there's not noise from an air conditioner or a fan, and where you're not going to be disturbed. But for now, this recording is okay. But if you wanted to change it, then you just select that text again, and then just okay, so we need to go back and then go through and record it again. But once you've got the text for the whole page, then you can listen to it. This is my story about the flowers. The end of my story. But there is an option now. You can import a recording. So this is helpful if you've got multiple people that are working on a book. And yeah, you can, so you can show, you can have different people recording different parts of the book. So this will be useful when a little bit later we'll get onto the comic book tool and overlay tool. So record the whole text box, then let Bloom split it into sentences. So you may notice that this is my story about flowers. Okay, so this box has got three sentences. One of them's already been recorded. But the second one hasn't been recorded, so I'll just record that now. Second sentence of the story about flowers. And then the next one, third sentence. Okay. Third sentence. So now as I listen to the whole page, this is my story about the flowers. Second sentence of the story about flowers. Third sentence. So the end of my story. You'll notice that the audio, when it's being played back, you can tell that it's been recorded separately. Or each sentence has been recorded separately. So if we click record by whole text box and let Bloom separate it later, Okay, so I'm going to clear and clear that and clear that. Okay, so now I've selected record by hold text box, then let Bloom split it into sentences later. So now I'm going to record the whole text box. This is my story about the flowers. Second sentence of the story about flowers. Third sentence. So now as I play it, this is my story about the flowers. Second sentence of the story about flowers. Third sentence. So this is my story about the flowers. Second sentence of the story about flowers. Third sentence. Okay, so yeah, so now that we've done that, now there's the option split. And let's see if this is going to work. Okay, so you'll see here that it's now split it into the sentences. So you'll see the slightly different blue, the light blue, a little bit darker, and then darker. So when we check it, this is my story about the flowers. Second sentence of the story about flowers. Third sentence. So it sounds more natural now that you've recorded it, and so Bloom recognized that there's a period there, and then there's a space, and then there's a capital letter. If you're recording in another language, then it may be necessary to tell Bloom where it needs to stop. So the way you would do that would be by using this symbol, which on my keyboard it's at the it's above the enter key, but on other keyboards it may be in a different place. So you may want, this is my story about, so you may want the split to be there instead. So now a split. So now, instead of starting here, because it doesn't have the period and the period anymore, it's starting just after this line, which now that I've split it, when it's checked, this is my story about the flowers. Second sentence of the story about flowers. Third sentence. So once you've added the separation bar and split that text box, then take out the separation bar, and that otherwise it will appear in the middle of your text. So once the splitting is already there, then you can take it off. And there is an option now, which wasn't available in Bloom previously, but there's the option to show the playback order buttons. So in this, we're starting with the top text box and then finishing with the bottom one. So But if we wanted, we could make that number 2 and that number 1. So when it's playing the text, when it's playing the audio, it will start with the first box down the bottom, and then the second box at the top. But yeah, it's normally you would have the top text box playing first, but it may be that you have a book that's in a couple of languages and you want the local language played first. Or it may be that you don't have audio on the other part of the book. Okay, so now that's showing what it should be showing. Okay, so now if we go back to Information Tool, so this actually has voice, music, and motion. So let's see what happens here. The end of my story. This is my story about the flowers. Second sentence of the story about flowers. Third sentence. Okay, so as you may have noticed, I had to turn the audio down a bit. But if you've got text recorded, well, text recorded on the page, but you also have background music, then you don't want the music to drown out the audio, the recording. So now I just made that a bit softer. The end of my story. This is my story about the flowers. Second sentence of the story about flowers. Third sentence. So it may be helpful if you're using both the music tool and the voice recording. It may be helpful to actually do the preview and then adjust the volume of the music. Particularly if it's a song that's playing in the background and you've got the music. It's got words in the song, but you've also got the voice recording. Okay. So I'm going to show some samples of books that have audio with them. In the Bloomlibrary, if you're looking for books that have audio, then you'll see that on the landing page, you'll see that there's you can look for books, talking books. So there's 1900 of them, and then you can select the particular language. And also, if you're searching for books by the language, not just selecting talking books, then you'll notice that it has a small icon here, which indicates that it's a talking book. So these are all the books that are available. In the particular languages, these ones, the Philippines have got recordings added to them. These are in a couple of languages. I'm just getting down to the English ones. Okay, so for example, okay, so this one I can do. So there's some simple books here. So this book has audio. You can download it as a PDF, or you can download it to the Bloom Reader app. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to read it, which will also play the audio.
I can do.
So because this is the preview, it's you need to.
I smell.
Okay, so this one, it's got 2 languages, but only one of them has got the recording.
I taste.
So this is from Papua New Guinea.
I wave. I point. I shout. I whisper. I get dirty. I get clean. I swim. I float. I say yes.
Okay, so this is a longer book.
I can do. I climb.
So you'll see this has got
I can do.
so it's got yeah, so because this is a digital book, it has the credits and the copyright information
I can.
at the end.
I slide.
Okay, and if you're just wanting to preview it without the audio, then you can pause the audio at the top. If you decide that this particular book you want to translate it into your language, then you can click download into the Bloom editor. So this will start the process of downloading it. And then eventually it will make it available within Bloom. Yeah, here we are. So it's downloading the book. So if it's a book that's got a lot of colored pictures, or it's got a lot of pages or a lot of audio, then it will take a bit longer to download it. Okay, so now it's downloaded. Your download is complete. You can see it in the Books from Bloomlibrary section of your collections. So now if I go to Bloom, if I go back to the collections and then scroll down here, there's a section. Yeah, there's a section here. Find the particular book that it is. This is the find the particular one. Okay, so there are a couple of questions in there about audio, which I will get to. So this is the book that we've got from the Bloomlibrary. So I can do. And this collection is an English and Thai collection. So if each page has got the two languages, then you'll notice that there's a box at the top where, whether it's Thai or another language, that would be where you would type the text, and you could also record that text. And yeah, so there's multiple pages in this book. So you could, the English is already in the book, it's already recorded, but if you're wanting Thai, then, or whatever language you've chosen, then you can type the text and record the text. But if you have an audio book, there is an option for EPUB, but the recommendation is to use the Bloom Reader, or to share it on the web through the Bloomlibrary, because different EPUB readers may show the books differently. But the EPUB option is there. And yes, so the Bloom Reader, I will cover that a little bit later. But there is the option to choose which.
I can do.
Stop this. Yes, so there is the option to choose which languages for the text or for the audio that you want shown in what you're sending to the Bloomlibrary, or what you're saving to the Bloom Reader. Okay, I'm just going to show a short video here. Okay, so this, so this will actually introduce some of the newer features, but it also has a part in there about importing audio.
Bloom, the free award-winning software tool for creating multilingual books, just got even better. Bloom 4.7 introduces two new features: digital comic books and audio import. In fact, both of these two new features were used to create this brand new book, which is now featured on the online Bloomlibrary website. Let's click on the Read button and check out a few pages from this fun book.
Hannah and Asher go to the bookstore. One day, Hannah and Asher's grandpa gives them some money to buy some books.
Here, children, go and buy some books.
Thank you, Grandpa.
They are both very happy. They both love to read.
I think that's pretty cool. Alright, let's take a look at that same book now in the Bloom editor. Here we are on page 1. On this page, I have two speech bubbles, here and here. I also have two text blocks, here and here. I've added these elements using the comic tool, which sits over on the right. Now let's skip to page 3. On this page, I have a caption. Unlike text blocks, captions have a non-transparent colored background. Speech bubbles, text blocks, and captions comprise the basic comic elements available in the comic tool. But the fun doesn't stop there. By accessing the Style button, I can transform any comic element into other shapes, such as thought bubbles and exclamation bubbles. I've used both of these on page 5. Let's check that out. On this page, I wanted to indicate that these words are what the girl is thinking, not speaking. Graphically, I indicate that using a thought bubble. I also wanted to indicate just how excited this boy was to find the bird book, and so I enclosed the boy's words in an exclamation bubble. Comics can represent a bigger challenge for making a talking book. In a regular book, you only need to record a single narrator for the entire book. But for a comic book, you'll want to record separate voice actors for each character in the book. That can be problematic, and that's why we've added the ability to import pre-recorded audio into Bloom 4.7. To import audio, click Import Recording and select your MP3 file. By taking advantage of Bloom's new Import Audio function, voice actors in different geographic locations can collaborate and make a digital comic book really come alive.
So many great books. I can't decide. Look, I've got a bird book.
Importing pre-recorded audio is particularly helpful for making talking books with historical recordings. That's what enabled the Naskapi people of Canada to put together this beautiful digital comic book. Bloom comic books can be distributed directly to Android phones.
Cuchara comelona, cuchara comelona. ¿Qué ves?
Veo una olla en el fogón.
Or your books can be uploaded to the Bloom Library where anyone in the language community can read them online. To read this book online, I simply click on the Read button. Or, to enjoy this Bloom Library book offline, simply download the Bloom Pub to your Android device and read it using the Bloom Reader app. The Bloom Reader app is available for free from the Google Play Store.
Finally, it's time to go. The man in the bookshop smiles at them.
This is the book I'm getting. Good choice.
We hope the 2 new features discussed in this video and the examples shown have inspired you.
So I should also mention that the comic book feature or the overlay tool is part of the Bloom Enterprise plan. So this table here shows some of the differences. Bloom Enterprise is a paid subscription, but it does give some extra features. You can set up bookshelves on the Bloom Reader. You can have custom branding, so that may be you have your own logos on the back of the book. And there's also a feature for monitoring and evaluation. But it is possible to use some of these features. So the sign language tool, this needs to be updated. The comic book tool is also available. If the book is for, it's created by and for the local community, then it is possible to use the Bloom Enterprise. Otherwise, you're restricted to just the regular Bloom features. So I will show where you can change that. Okay. Yeah, so actually in Bloom, so it's at the collection level. I'll just say this. So each collection is related to a particular language, or it could be its particular settings. So as you see there, there's I have different collections, but the one that I'm in is this one. But if you click settings, then there is a page here, Bloom Enterprise. So this book, SIL and other organizations do have a subscription, so that could be used. But there's also branding for books created with the Bloom Enterprise features enabled in order to support projects funded by the local community. So if it's just created by and funded by the local community, then you can use that, but it will have this logo on the back of the book. If you're working with other organizations, for example, aid organizations, they may want to have their own logo on the back, and they may be willing to pay for that. So in that case, then you would need to contact the Bloom developers, and they would create a book. They would create branding that would allow you to do that. But I'm going to select funded by the local community. And so whenever you make any changes here, then Bloom will close and reopen with the new settings. So that's what's going to happen here. So now with my book, if I edit it, this isn't the particular book that I had open, but so if I click the more options now, there's an overlay tool here. So any of these features at the side that have this purple dot beside them are features that are only available with the enterprise subscription. So whether it's a subscription or creating the books for the local with local funding. Okay, so yeah, so this table here does need to be updated a little bit, but it does have it also has the comic book and overlay features are available for the local community and Bloom Enterprise. Okay, so there is a question in the chat. For the reader, does the motion start automatically when he gets to the page with motion, or does the reader have control over when to start the motion? It does happen automatically. So if you set motion, it will start on that page. Okay, and there is a question there about can we make an index page? It's possible to make an index page, but you need to do it manually. Yeah, so it's not like Word or other programs where you can have a automatic hyperlink or automatic selection to the to a particular page in the book. There is an option now. I'll just see if it's available in here. Yeah, so there is an option if you have a link on your clipboard, then you can paste a hyperlink, but you would need to do this manually. So if you, for example, you had, this was on the title, the index page, you've got the end of my story, and that could be a link. At this stage, it's a link to an external site. Okay, so the other question was about for the motion, does it just play once or repeatedly? It does just play once. So for this particular image, it will start at the small flower, and then it will show what's on number 2. It won't keep doing that. So if you're wanting it to continue, then you would need to duplicate this page and do it again. So is the sound balance then set for the reader? So if you set the volume of the music here, so I've got 4%, and that will be the volume that it will appear, that it will show for the person who's reading it, who's listening to it. But they will still have the option to increase or decrease the volume, but it will be, they can't increase the volume of the music and decrease the volume of the voice recording. It will be, they're only changing one audio setting. And yeah, a question, does the quality of the voice recording depend on our computer's audio settings? So if you're recording it, then you do need to consider the microphone settings on your computer. And yeah, the playback, there may be some settings that you can also change. Yeah, so it's so if you're recording and you're wanting to make the books a higher quality of recording, then if you have access to a room that may be set up for audio recordings, or you may have a good headset with a good microphone, with noise cancelling headset microphone, then that will improve the quality. But I realize that not everyone has the money to spend on high quality microphones. But in this particular room that I'm in at the moment, there is an air conditioner going, and there is a little bit of sound from outside. So if I was actually doing the recording in this room, then I would do it with the air conditioner turned off, and maybe maybe choose another room if the outside sounds were too loud. Okay, and a question about could this be used in offline? So I'm not sure if that was related to actually listening to the books or recording. So Bloom itself, once you have, if you've downloaded a book from the Bloom library to translate into your language, then that will allow you to, you will be able to work offline to edit that book. And if you've transferred the book to someone else, you've downloaded it, they've downloaded it on the Bloom reader, then that will be available for them to read offline. But you need to have the online access to download the books, or download the books for reading, or download them for translating and adding the audio. But Bloom, one of the advantages of the Bloom program is that it can work without internet access. So once you've got it installed, you only need the internet access if you're wanting to download something else, or you're wanting to upload. And there was a question there. It was, I covered a little bit in the session last week. The question is about, can anyone upload created books directly? Is there a submission process? So it is possible for anyone to upload books to the Bloom library, but you need to set up an account first.